Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Expensive Coins World, where we dive deep into the world of coins, collectibles, and their that 1980 Jefferson nickel is a small yet significant artifact in the numismatic history of the United States. Minted during a time of economic transition and Cold War tensions, this coin represents more than just 5 cents of American currency. It is a capsule of cultural, political, and historical symbols embedded in metal. The D-Mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, one of the primary facilities of the United States Mint. Obverse front design, Thomas Jefferson's legacy. Obverse features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The design was first introduced in 1938, created by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag. Jefferson's portrait was chosen for his embodiment of Enlightenment ideals, democratic principles, and his role in shaping the American Republic. In God We Trust, this is the national motto of the United States, officially adopted in 1956. It represents the religious heritage of the country, though its inclusion also reflects Cold War ideology in asserting moral contrast against atheistic communism. Liberty, placed to the right of Jefferson's profile, it affirms the foundational American principle of individual freedom. Date 1980 and mint mark D, positioned below Liberty. This indicates the coin was minted in Denver in the year 1980. The inclusion of Liberty, especially next to Jefferson's profile, subtly invokes French revolutionary ideals of liberté, égalité, fraternité, which were also deeply admired by Jefferson himself during his ambassadorship to France. The motto aligns philosophically with Enlightenment thought that inspired both the French and American revolutions. Reverse back design, Monticello and architectural symbolism. The reverse features Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical Virginia estate. Its depiction symbolizes Jefferson's intellect, taste in architecture, and his grounding in rationalist ideals. E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. This phrase expresses the unity of the states into one nation. It was adopted in 1776 and appears on many U.S. coins as a celebration of federal unity and diversity. United States of America 5 cents. Monticello was designed by Jefferson himself, drawing inspiration from Palladian and neoclassical architectural styles, reflecting Enlightenment ideals of symmetry, harmony, and civic virtue. Metal composition and specifications. 1980 nickel is made of a copper-nickel alloy, composed of 75% copper, 25% nickel. Specifications: diameter 21.21, weight 5.00 grams. Smooth plainness. Combination of metals offers durability and a silver-like appearance, while being cost-effective for mass circulation. Minting and circulation. Denver Mint produced over 373 million nickels in 1980. These coins were widely circulated and are common in pocket change even today. While not rare, their condition can significantly affect collector value. Uncirculated and high-grade specimens may fetch a modest premium. Historical and political context. 1980. The year 1980 was pivotal in U.S. and global history. Ronald Reagan was elected president. The Cold War was at a critical juncture with the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. The Iran hostage crisis gripped the nation. Economically, the U.S. struggled with stagflation, a combination of high inflation and unemployment. In this context, even small objects like coins were imbued with ideological meaning. The presence of mottos like In God We Trust and E pluribus unum served as cultural reinforcement of American ideals against Soviet communism. Philosophical and international symbolism. Reference to phrase liberté, égalité, fraternité, the French revolutionary motto. While not officially part of American coins, these ideals echo strongly in the U.S. political philosophy, especially through the Enlightenment thinkers who inspired both nations. Liberty, represented explicitly on the coin. Égalité, equality, implicit in Jefferson's writings, and the democratic values of the U.S. system. Fraternité, acute fraternity, reflected in the national motto. E pluribus unum, unity and fellowship among diverse states and peoples. Republic, like or fool. Interpretive, Addendum Republic Lagerfeuille appears to be a symbolic or interpretive term, possibly blending references to European republicanism and an artistic or numismatic figure. Republic reflects the concept of a government by the people again. Aligning with Jeffersonian democracy, Lagerfeuille might metaphorically refer to artistic influences such as French medallists like Roger Lagerfeuille, who worked in medallions and coins. While not directly tied to U.S. coins, invoking a name like this may signify transatlantic artistic and ideological exchange between France and the USTHUs, while not literal on the coin. Republic Lagerfeuille serves symbolically to highlight the republican and artistic spirit of both nations through coinage. Numismatic value and collector insight: circulated coins have minimal value, around 5 to 10 cents, and circulated mint state coins in grades MS65 or higher can be worth $1, $5. Full steps variety Monticello steps sharply struck is highly sought after by collectors. Look for errors like off-center strikes, die cracks, or double dies for added value. Conclusion: a symbolic slice of American historic 1980 Jefferson nickel is more than just a monetary instrument. It is a compact expression of American identity. From the Enlightenment philosophy of Jefferson to national unity in e pluribus unum and spiritual resolve in God we trust, every word and design element contributes to a layered narrative. Your mention of liberty, eaglite, fraternity, and Republic Lagerfeuille serves as a reminder that these coins exist not just in American pockets, but also in a broader philosophical tradition that spans continents and centuries. Whether viewed as a collector's piece, an economic tool, or a historical artifact, the 1980 D nickel stands as a small but enduring testament to the values it was minted to represent. The next up top to the 1994 D Jefferson nickel United States 5-cent coin, featuring inscriptions like Liberty, Eaglite, Fraternit, E Pluribus Unum, and In God We Trust, carries both historical and numismatic significance. Although the motto Liberté, Eaglite, Fraternit originates from the French Revolution and is not officially on U.S. coinage, its inclusion here could reflect a symbolic or artistic interpretation, blending republican ideals shared between the U.S. and France. The coin itself, minted in Denver, denoted by the D Mint mark, is part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series that began in 1938 and continues today, designed initially by sculptor Felix Schlug. The obverse of the 1994 D nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States, principal author of the Declaration of Independence, and a key figure in advocating liberty and Enlightenment values. Jefferson's portrait is accompanied by the inscriptions In God We Trust, Liberty, and the year 1994, with a small D Mint mark indicating production at the Denver Mint, one of the 3 primary U.S. mint facilities at the time. The reverse side of the coin displays the iconic Monticello, Jefferson's Virginia estate, a neoclassical building symbolizing democratic ideals, with the Latin phrase E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, appearing prominently above it. This motto expresses the union of diverse states into one nation. Below Monticello are the inscriptions 5 cents and United States of America, clearly denoting the coin's denomination and country of origin. Struck in a copper-nickel composition, 75% copper and 25% nickel, this coin weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. The edges smooth plane, typical of U.S. nickels, while billions of 1994 D nickels were minted over 1.4 billion, making them common in circulation. Uncirculated or high-grade coins MS65 or better can attract modest premiums among collectors. Coins in mint state condition, particularly those with full steps FS, clear, uninterrupted steps on Monticello's portico, are especially desirable. Historically, 1994 was a transitional year in terms of U.S. culture and economics, and while no specific design changes occurred in that year for the Jefferson nickel, it marked one of the final years before major redesigns in the early 2000s, when the Westward Journey nickel series began. As such, the 1994 D nickel represents the classic Schlog design nearing its end. The coin's connection to the values of liberty and fraternity may also be viewed symbolically, tying American Enlightenment ideals to those of the French Republic, which is echoed in your mention of Republic and La Griffoul. Possibly a nod to French coin designer Joaquin Jiménez La Griffoul, whose designs reflect similar themes of liberty and human dignity. While he did not design U.S. coins, referencing him underscores a broader philosophical link between American and French Republican ideals. Numismatically, the 1994 D. Jefferson nickel does not carry significant rarity, but it's contextual and historical. Symbolism, especially when considered with artistic reinterpretations or international influences, can enrich its meaning. It's a coin that still actively circulates, reminding users daily of the enduring legacy of Jefferson's ideals, freedom, unity, and public service. Collectors may value this coin more for its representation of continuity in American coinage and the timeless values inscribed upon it than for its rarity or precious metal content. Those looking to appraise its value should look for examples with sharp strikes, clean surfaces, and well-preserved luster, all contributing to its potential. Desirability in the hobby market. The next up, top 3, the 1994 P. Jefferson nickel, minted in Philadelphia and bearing the iconic portrait of Thomas Jefferson, is not merely a 5-cent coin issued by the United States. Minted is a small yet enduring emblem of American ideals, historical evolution, and the philosophical underpinnings that echo across the globe. On the obverse, the coin features a left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, author of the Declaration of Independence, and an architect of liberty. His image, as designed by Felix Schlag in 1938, was selected following a national competition, and it remained largely unchanged until the Westward Journey series began in 2004. Jefferson's steadfast gaze and distinguished profile symbolize the intellectual vigor and democratic foundation of a young republic. To the right of his profile lies the inscription, "In God We Trust," a phrase adopted as a national motto that encapsulates the religious sentiment prevalent throughout the country's formative years. On the left appears the word liberty, written in Jefferson's own handwriting, a deeply symbolic design choice linking the visual to the ideological. This handwritten liberty is not just a stylistic flourish, it evokes the Enlightenment ideals that Jefferson passionately believed in: liberty, personal freedom, and rational self-governance. Beneath liberty is the year of mintage, 1994, followed by the mint mark P, indicating its origin in the Philadelphia Mint, one of the nation's oldest and most prolific coin-producing institutions. The date places this coin in the post-Cold War era, during the Clinton administration, when America was recalibrating its place in a unipolar world order, and coins such as this continued their silent role as everyday instruments of commerce, faith, and national identity. When we look closely at this nickel, we realize how it forms part of a broader tapestry not only of numismatics, but of political philosophy and humanist heritage. Its essence resonates, intriguingly, with the French national motto Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité. Though these words originated during the French Revolution, they harmonize with Jeffersonian thought, for Jefferson himself was profoundly inspired by the French Enlightenment and even served as ambassador to France during the Revolution. Thus, one might say this American coin, though purely a domestic artifact, carries within it the whispered echoes of French revolutionary zeal, liberty for the individual, equality before the law, and fraternity among citizens. In this way, it becomes a republic La Griffoul in metaphor, embodying both American realism and European romanticism. The reverse of the 1994 nickel continues the celebration of American heritage with a depiction of Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical estate in Virginia. The building, with its Romanesque dome and balanced geometry, represents Jefferson's devotion to classical architecture and Enlightenment rationality. Above Monticello, the Latin phrase E pluribus unum is engraved, meaning out of many, one, a unifying statement that reaffirms America's pluralistic identity. This motto reflects both the nation's federal structure and its diverse cultural fabric. The words United States of America wrap around the top, framing the scene, while 5 cents appears at the bottom, confirming its denomination. This 5-cent piece is not just a tool for transactions, but a symbolic artifact encapsulating America's revolutionary birth, philosophical lineage, and Jefferson's enduring legacy. It is a relic of history that passed through millions of hands traded for milk, newspapers, bus rides, candy, and memories, each time serving as a quiet reminder of national unity and democratic hope. In terms of mintage, the 1994 P nickel is not rare in the conventional sense. Over 700 million coins were produced in Philadelphia alone, ensuring its wide circulation across the country. Yet within its commonality lies its strength. This coin served everyone from school children, counting their allowances, to business owners making change. While its market value remains close to face value unless in uncirculated or proof condition, its true value lies in its representation of a time, a vision, and a continuity of purpose. Coins like this function as everyday ambassadors of the state, tokens of belief in the republic and in the institutions that uphold it. From a numismatic perspective, collectors might seek high-grade examples graded by services such as PCGS or NGC, where MS66 or higher examples may garner modest premiums due to their preserved condition. However, beyond grading and mint figures, the 1994 Jefferson nickel serves as a philosophical artifact, one that invites reflection. Why does a republic stamp its ideals into metal? Why do mottos like "In God We Trust" and "E Pluribus Unum" persist? Why Jefferson? These questions invite comparisons with other world coins and constitutions. If one imagines this coin, produced not in America, but in a symbolic republic like Fool, a metaphorical space where art, history, and civic ideals blend, it becomes a coin of universal values, freedom of thought, secularism, fraternity among all peoples. The French motto and the American ideals intersect here, whispering across centuries and oceans that democracy, though imperfect, is a light that must continually be reignited in every generation. In the final analysis, the 1994 P. Jefferson nickel is a modest metal disc infused with bold declarations. It speaks of the past, but also suggests a path forward rooted in liberty, guided by wisdom, and united in diversity. Whether nestled in a drawer or a coin album, it remains a storyteller. In the palm of your hand, a witness to history, and a quiet philosopher of the Republic. The next up top for the 1996 Jefferson nickel, struck at the Denver Mint as denoted by the D Mint mark, represents one of the final years before the redesigns of U.S. coinage in the early 2000s. On its obverse front, it features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States, sculpted by Felix Schluge, a German-American artist who won a national competition in 1938 to redesign the nickel. Jefferson's stern yet thoughtful profile, framed by the inscriptions "In God We Trust" on the left and "Liberty" followed by the date 1996 on the right, pays homage to the Founding Fathers' enduring legacy in American democracy. The coin is made of a copper-nickel alloy and weighs 5 grams, with a smooth edge and a 21.2 millimeters diameter, standard for nickels since the introduction of this design. The reverse back features an image of Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical Virginia, a state centered under the Latin motto "E Pluribus Unum", meaning "out of many, one". Below Monticello, the denomination 5 cents and the country name United States of America are proudly displayed in bold, stately fonts. While this design remained unchanged for decades, it's still deeply appreciated for its architectural accuracy and historical relevance, now bringing in the symbolic overlay of liberty, eaglite, fraternite, a motto rooted in the French Revolution, adds a philosophical dimension to the coin's interpretation. While not officially part of U.S. coinage, its inclusion suggests an ideological affinity between the American and French democratic experiments. The phrase, meaning liberty, equality, fraternity, resonates with Jefferson's own admiration for French Enlightenment ideals and his time spent in France as a diplomat. This imaginative fusion portrays the 1996 nickel as not only a monetary token, but also a cultural bridge between Republican philosophies, The mention of Republic Lagerfeuille appears to evoke the spirit of Jean-Antoine Lagarny, or perhaps a fictional artist embodying classical ideals, used metaphorically here to illustrate the artistic soul of liberty-oriented coin design. The use of such a name enhances the romanticism of numismatics, suggesting that each coin, even as common as the Jefferson nickel, carries with it the echoes of revolution, art, and ideology. Even though the real Jefferson nickel has no direct connection to French mottos or Lagerfeuille, framing it this way elevates its significance, especially for collectors and historians who seek deeper, often cross-cultural, meaning in national currency. From a collector's standpoint, the 19960 Jefferson nickel is common in circulation with a mintage of more than 800 million coins, and its value in circulated condition remains at face value. However, in uncirculated mint state condition, particularly at grades MS65 and above, it may fetch anywhere from $1 to $5 depending on stripe quality, luster, and eye appeal. Full steps nickels, those with clearly defined steps on Monticello, are more valuable, sometimes reaching $20 or more, especially if perfectly struck. While not rare, the coin's educational, historical, and cultural narrative, especially when infused with revolutionary ideals and artistic allegory, makes it a compelling piece for long-term study and discussion. The next up, top 5, the 2002p Jefferson nickel is a fascinating modern American coin that reflects both the values of the United States and the legacy of one of its most influential founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, indicated by the P Mint mark, this 5-cent coin bears the standard design introduced in 1938 and in use until the major redesign of the Westward Journey series began in 2004. On the obverse front side, we see the left-facing portrait of Jefferson, third President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence, designed by German-American artist Felix Schlag. His name is not inscribed, but his image is accompanied by the motto "In God We Trust" on the left and the word "Liberty" on the right in script-style lettering. Along with the year of mintage, 2002, the coin also includes a P4, Philadelphia, underscoring the mint origin. The reverse back of the coin features an elegant image of Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical Virginia state, a structure of both architectural and historical significance, reinforcing Jefferson's image as a polymath and Enlightenment figure. Above the building is the motto "E pluribus unum," Latin for "out of many, one," representing the unification of the states into one nation. Below Monticello are the inscriptions 5 cents and United States of America. The nickel's metallic composition is 75% copper and 25% nickel, and it weighs precisely 5 grams with a diameter of 21.1 millimeters and a plain edge. The phrase "Liberty, Egalite," for turn at the French motto meaning liberty, equality, brotherhood, while not officially part of U.S. coinage, appears to symbolize a thematic overlap between Enlightenment values shared by the American and French revolutions. Ideals strongly associated with Jefferson's political philosophy and his support for the French Republic during its early years, the addition of the term republic and the artist-style attribution Lagerfeuille, a French surname resembling classical engravers or coin designers in your description, evokes a cross-cultural poetic interpretation, perhaps a nod to neoclassical European influence and a symbolic unity of democratic ideals across continents. While Lagerfeuille is not the actual engraver of this coin, Felix Schlag holds that credit. The use of this name can be interpreted as a metaphorical or artistic homage to classical engraving styles. The Jefferson nickel remained cornerstone of American circulating coinage throughout the 20th century and into the 21st, and although 2002 was not a year of special commemorative design, this issue remains a testament to the durability and recognizability of traditional U.S. coinage. From a numismatic perspective, 2002p nickels were produced in high numbers, over 811 million, so while they are generally considered common in circulated condition, uncirculated examples or full-step specimens coins with sharp Monticello steps detail are prized by collectors. These higher-grade coins, especially in MS65 or above condition, may fetch premiums beyond face value. The 2002 Jefferson nickel thus represents both historical continuity and the enduring legacy of classical American values, wrapped in metal. Form a small but resonant artifact of civic memory and artistic tradition in American currency. Whether examined as part of a broader coin collection or as a standalone emblem of Jeffersonian democracy, it tells a layered story rich in symbolism, ideology, and American identity. The next up top 6, the 1984D Jefferson nickel, is more than just a 5-cent coin. It is a small metallic monument to American history, civic ideals, artistic design, and evolving cultural expression. Struck in Denver as indicated by the D. Mint mark, this coin represents a critical continuation of the United States Mint's long-standing Jefferson series, which began in 1938 with its powerful imagery, layered symbology, and resonant slogans. The 1984D nickel encapsulates both the legacy of American democracy and a universal message of liberty and fraternity that bridges the philosophical ideals of both the United States and revolutionary France. The Denver Mint produced 593,403,000 of these nickels in 1984, making it one of the most widely circulated coins of its year. The coin's composition remained unchanged from previous years, 75% copper and 25% nickel, clad on a pure copper core. Weighing exactly 5 grams with a diameter of 21.2 millimeters and a smooth edge, the coin was designed for durability and wide use, suitable for daily transactions and vending machines alike. The obverse front of the coin features a profile portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Sculpted by artist Felix Schlag, the design has remained iconic since its debut in 1938. Jefferson faces left, with a calm, thoughtful expression symbolizing enlightenment, leadership, and intellectual conviction. His image is accompanied by the inscriptions, "In God We Trust." This national motto, officially adopted in 1956, underscores America's foundation in spiritual values and its recognition of divine providence. Liberty, a singular word of profound weight. Liberty appears in a flowing script reminiscent of Jefferson's own handwriting, evoking the personal character and revolutionary spirit of the man. 1984, the year of minting, marking this coin's placement in late Cold War America period of cultural introspection and ideological tension. D. The Denver Mint mark, discreetly placed to the right of the date. Intriguingly, this version of the coin also reflects a philosophical bridge between American and French democratic ideals, with the French revolutionary motto, Liberté, Egalite, Fraternite, subtly symbolized by the spirit of the design. Though not officially present on the coin, your phrase suggests a deeper symbolic reading, perhaps a collector's imaginative overlay or a philosophical alignment with shared humanist values. The reverse back of the 1984D nickel is a detailed engraving of Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical Virginia estate, designed by Schlag with crisp lines and classical balance. It symbolizes Jefferson's love for architecture, Enlightenment ideals, and his belief in agrarian democracy. Below this domed structure are the following inscriptions: E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one a tribute to unity in diversity, a cornerstone of the American Republic, Monticello, proudly labeled in bold capitals, Monticello reminds the viewer of Jefferson's physical and philosophical home. 5 cents, the coin's face value, written in words rather than numerals, a stylistic decision enhancing its dignity, United States of America, declaring its national origin and embedding the coin in the larger narrative of American identity. The ideals, liberty, equality, fraternity, and republicanism, mere inclusion of the phrase liberty, egalite, fraternite. The famed revolutionary French motto invites an interpretive reading of the 1984D nickel as a piece transcending national borders. The United States and France share deep philosophical and historical bonds rooted in Enlightenment thought, the struggle for democratic governance, and a belief in universal human rights. These ideals are embodied in Jefferson's vision of the Republic, which embraced personal freedom, limited government, and the rights of man, the Franco-American alliance during the American Revolution. Solidified by shared values. The Republican model of governance, hinted at in your mention of Republic Lagerfool, a fictional or symbolic name suggesting a cross-cultural republic of ideals. The phrase Republic Lagerfool does not officially appear on any U.S. coin. It might be seen as a poetic or metaphorical invocation of artistic republics, imagined communities that blend liberty with art, equality with design, and fraternity with shared cultural legacy. Felix Schlag, the coin's designer, was a German-born American sculptor who won a design competition to create the Jefferson nickel in the late 1930s. His artistic roots are evident in the balance and neoclassicism of the Monticello depiction, which mirrors the Enlightenment ideals held by Jefferson himself. Schlag's original concept was altered slightly over time, but its core composition remains faithful to the ideals of order, proportion, and Republican dignity. Schlag's design subtly conveys balance between individual and state. Monticello as both private home and national monument, tension between tradition and change. Jefferson, a revolutionary, housed in classical design, harmony between visual form and civic function. The coin must be recognizable, durable, symbolic, and usable. The year 1984 holds a complex place in American consciousness. President Ronald Reagan was campaigning for re-election, and Cold War tensions with the Soviet Union shaped foreign policy. Economically, the country was recovering from a recession, and the technological revolution was underway with the emergence of personal computers. Against this backdrop, the Jefferson nickel remained a quiet constant, a daily reminder of enduring national values. Also notable, 1984 was the title of George Orwell's dystopian novel, and though not connected to the coin, the year often evokes themes of surveillance, freedom, and totalitarianism. In contrast, the Jefferson nickel stands for the opposite: personal liberty, democratic governance, and enlightenment. Reason while billions were minted, the value of a 1984D nickel in circulated condition remains at face value 5 cents. However, uncirculated or proof specimens, especially those in mint state MS65 or higher, can fetch 30 cents to $5 USD or more, depending on luster, strike quality, and toning. Full steps varieties, sharp detail in Monticello steps are especially sought after by collectors and may command a premium. In the coin collecting world, numismatics, the Jefferson nickel is often overlooked compared to rarer denominations, but its historical significance, artistic merit, and symbolic density make it a worthwhile subject of study. It embodies American Enlightenment philosophied universality of democratic value as the quiet dignity of everyday artifaction seen through a cultural lens. The 1984D Jefferson nickel becomes a tiny republic of ideas, a circular canvas of identity, history, and hope. As your poetic phrase implies, it's a Republic Lagerfool, an imagined space where liberty, equality, and brotherhood meet in the palm of the hand, engraved on metal, passed from one generation to another. The next up, top 7, the 1994D Jefferson nickel, is a 5-cent coin minted by the United States Mint at the Denver facility. It reflects not only American numismatic tradition, but also bears markings and symbols like liberty, e pluribus unum, and in God we trust, that echo the philosophical ideals of democracy, unity, and faith. Interestingly, your description introduces French revolutionary values, liberté, égalité, fraternity, and references like Republic and Lagerfool, blending themes that span cultures and centuries. This poetic fusion offers a richer lens to examine a relatively ordinary yet symbolically dense coin. The obverse front of the 1994D Jefferson nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. This design, sculpted by Felix Schlag in 1938, remained largely unchanged through 2003. Jefferson's image is bold yet classical, his profile surrounded by the inscriptions "In God We Trust" on the left and "Liberty" on the right, followed by the date 1994 and the mint mark D, which indicates it was produced at the Denver Mint. Jefferson's stern yet thoughtful expression is emblematic of Enlightenment ideals. Reason liberty, and human rights that he championed. The reverse back of the coin shows Jefferson's famous Virginia home, Monticello, also designed by Schlage. It stands as a neoclassical symbol of American architecture and intellect, influenced heavily by Roman and Palladian design. Above Monticello is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many, one, which represents the unity of the diverse states forming the United States. Below the building is the word Monticello, followed by 5 cents, and United States of America. The layout of this reverse encapsulates the economic and political ethos of the country during the 20th century. In terms of composition, the 199.4D Jefferson nickel is made from a cupronickel alloy, 75% copper and 25% nickel. It has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters and weighs 5 grams. Despite its low face value, the coin carries a rich narrative. It is a representation of American heritage, reflecting decades of numismatic tradition. Over 789 million Jefferson nickels were struck at the Denver Mint in 1994, making this coin common in circulation, but still a point of interest for collectors who study mint errors, die varieties, or full steps on Monticello, where all steps on the building are fully visible, increasing value. Now, layering in the French motto Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, translated as liberty, equality, fraternity, we are reminded of the shared revolutionary roots of both France and the United States. While not part of the official U.S. motto system, this philosophical insertion draws parallels between Jefferson's ideals and those of the French Revolution. Jefferson served as U.S. Minister to France in the 1780s and was deeply influenced by French Enlightenment thinking. The phrase republic in this context serves as a metaphorical connection to the global pursuit of self-governance. Lagerfeuille, likely referencing an imagined or artistic figure akin to Luc Olivier Mersenne or Louis-Oscar Rodi in French. Numismatics reinforces this theme of universal freedom through allegory and design. Thus, the 199.4D Jefferson nickel isn't just a piece of money. It's a canvas of historical resonance, political symbolism, and aesthetic legacy. It embodies the Enlightenment ideals of the American founding fathers, the architectural brilliance of Monticello, and a deep-rooted belief in civic values. By incorporating symbols from both American and French Republican thought, your description elevates this coin from a basic collectible into a philosophical emblem representing the enduring dance between liberty and unity, sovereignty and fraternity. Coin and nation. The next up, top 8, the 199.8D Jefferson nickel stands as a modest yet important artifact within the rich tapestry of American coinage. Minted in Denver, as denoted by the D mint mark on the obverse, this 5-cent piece is part of the long-running Jefferson nickel series that began in 1938, designed by Felix Schlage. On its obverse, we see a stately left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson, 3rd President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Surrounding his image are the inscriptions "In God We Trust" on the left and "Liberty," followed by the year 1998 on the right. The flowing script of Liberty is stylized to mimic Jefferson's own handwriting, giving the coin an intimate historical resonance. The Denver Mint produced over 770 million of these coins in 1998, making it a common circulating piece. Yet each coin carries with it layers of symbolic weight rooted in American ideals and democratic tradition. Turning to the reverse, we encounter Monticello, Jefferson's neoclassical plantation home in Virginia, beautifully rendered with its Roman-inspired dome and columns. Above Monticello is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, out of many, one, reflecting the unity of the American states. Beneath the structure lies the denomination 5 cents and the issuing country's name, United States of America. This layout balances classical design with national symbolism, cementing the coin's role not just as currency, but as a circulating emblem of American heritage. Despite its minimal face value, the nickel's composition of 75% copper and 25% nickel gives it durability and a distinctive silvery hue. Now, expanding the cultural dimension, your phrase liberty, égalité, fraternité, The revolutionary motto of France intertwines intriguingly with the coin's themes. While this motto doesn't officially appear on U.S. currency, its ideological resonance with American Enlightenment values is unmistakable. Jefferson himself was deeply influenced by the French Revolution and Enlightenment philosophers like Rousseau and Voltaire. This shared heritage of republicanism and democratic aspiration metaphorically ties the American coin to the global legacy of liberty, equality, and fraternity. Jefferson, a Francophile, served as minister to France and was an admirer of the ideals behind the French Republic. Thus, the coin bearing his likeness could be seen symbolically as a bridge between American Republican ideals and the revolutionary fervor of Europe. Adding the French term republic introduces yet another layer, an invocation of the Republican spirit, not in a partisan sense, but as a governmental philosophy that emphasizes representative democracy, civic virtue, and public service. While not literally engraved on the coin, the ethos of the word aligns strongly with Jefferson's vision for America as an agrarian republic of freeholders and informed citizens. It's also worth noting that many collectors and enthusiasts associate such coins with broader philosophical inquiries, a quiet reminder that even the smallest denominations can represent grand ideas. You also mentioned Lagrafouille, a name likely referencing Pierre Rodier Lagrafouille, a French medalist and sculptor known for work on coins and medallions. Although he had no involvement in American coin design, invoking his name symbolically links this U.S. nickel to the traditions of fine metallic art and numismatic aesthetics practiced in Europe, traditions that emphasize harmony of line, balance, and symbolism in small-scale relief sculpture. While Felix Schlag is the actual designer, this hypothetical inclusion of Lagrafouille imagines a world where artistic traditions cross borders and where coinage becomes not only a national emblem but a universal language of liberty and artistry. Therefore, the 1998D Jefferson nickel, though small in size and mass-produced for daily use, holds within its surfaces a constellation of meanings. It is a conduit of national memory, a sculpted tribute to a founding father, a reflection of shared democratic ideals, and, when viewed with an internationalist lens, a participant in the larger tradition of global Republican values and artistic excellence. It combines American mottos like "In God We Trust" and "E Pluribus Unum" with the French spirit of liberty, egalite, fraternity in a silent philosophical dialogue engraved in metal. It is Jefferson's visage, Monticello's architecture, and the enduring idea that freedom and unity, wherever they arise, are worth etching into history and into our hands in coins that pass quietly from one generation to the next. The next up, top 9, the 1989P Jefferson nickel, is a significant piece of American numismatic history, not because of its rarity, but because of its connection to the long-running Jefferson nickel series, its symbolism, and its role in the everyday commerce of the United States. Designed by German-American sculptor Felix Schlag, the Jefferson nickel was first minted in 1938 as a replacement for the Buffalo nickel. By 1989, the design had become one of the most familiar coins in circulation. Continuing to honor Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president and principal author of the Declaration of Independence, on the obverse front of the coin, the right-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson is featured. Along the left edge of the coin appears the inscription "In God We Trust," symbolizing the nation's trust in divine providence, while the right edge displays the word liberty, followed by the date 1989 and a small P mint mark, which indicates it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. This version of the coin is a common strike from that year, with millions produced for circulation. The obverse engraving reflects Jefferson's dignified character, derived from an original bust created by the French sculptor Jean-Antoine Edong, highlighting the close historic and artistic ties between the U.S. and Europe. The reverse back of the coin features Jefferson's Virginia estate, Monticello, a neoclassical architectural masterpiece that Jefferson himself designed. Above the domed building is the Latin phrase "E Pluribus Unum," meaning out of many, one, representing unity from diversity, a motto central to the American identity. Below Monticello are the words 5 cents and United States of America, clearly denoting the denomination and issuing country. Schlag's signature reverse design stood strong until 2004, when the Westward Journey series temporarily replaced it. While the inscriptions Liberty, Eaglite, Fraternity, and Republic suggest influence from French revolutionary ideals and symbols of the French Republic, they do not appear on the official US 1989 nickel. Instead, these words translated as liberty, equality, brotherhood reflect broader Enlightenment principles shared by both the American and French revolutions. Some collectors and scholars metaphorically associate Jefferson with these values due to his role as U.S. ambassador to France during its revolutionary period and his close ideological kinship with French thinkers. The name La Graffule, possibly referencing Laurent La Graffule, a French coin designer, does not apply to the Jefferson nickel. Instead, Felix Schlag is the rightful designer. Schlag won a national competition to design the Jefferson nickel, and although the original Monticello design was modified, his initials FS were added to the reverse in later years to recognize his contribution. In terms of composition, the 1989 P. Jefferson nickel is made from a copper-nickel alloy, specifically 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a weight of 5 grams and a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. It features a smooth, plain edge and is struck in a standard business strike intended for widespread circulation. Though not particularly rare, a coin in uncirculated or high mint state condition MS65 or above may attract collector interest, especially if it has full steps sharp detail on Monticello's steps. However, circulated examples typically carry only face value unless they exhibit errors such as off-center strikes, double dies, or planchet flaws. By 1989, over 600 million Jefferson nickels were struck with the P Mint mark. This abundance makes them easy to find in pocket change or coin jars. Despite their ubiquity, these coins are still culturally and historically valuable, serving as a tangible link to American ideals and one of the country's most influential founding fathers. For collectors and enthusiasts, the Jefferson nickel is not just a coin, but a symbol of leadership, architecture, innovation, and philosophical thought. The 1989 edition continues that legacy, blending numismatic tradition with practical utility.